Hi everyone, my name is Ms. Recalde, and today we're going to be learning about sentences. Why are we learning about sentences? We need to learn how sentences work so we can become better writers. What is a sentence? A sentence is usually made up of one or more clauses, and a clause is made of a subject and a predicate, which are usually the nouns and verbs in a sentence. A sentence must have at least one subject and one predicate, and therefore one clause. There are two types of clauses, an independent clause and a dependent clause. Sometimes sentences will have more than one clause and many subjects and predicates. Depending on the number and type of clauses, a sentence can be classified as one of four different types of sentences. A sentence can either be a simple sentence, a complex sentence, a compound sentence, or a compound complex sentence. Knowing the different types of sentences you can write will make you a better reader and writer. Before we talk more about the different sentence types, let me explain what an independent and dependent clause are. An independent clause is made up of one subject and one predicate and expresses one complete thought. An independent clause can stand alone without any other clauses and still make complete sense. When a sentence is made up of just one independent clause, it is called a simple sentence. For example, Snow White bit into the poisonous apple. We have a subject, Snow White, and our predicate is bit into the poisonous apple. And the sentence expresses a complete thought and makes sense all on its own. Therefore, it is an independent clause and a simple sentence. A dependent clause is also made up of one subject and one predicate, but it does not express a complete thought. A dependent clause cannot stand alone, and it must be accompanied by an independent clause. A dependent clause might look like this: before Snow White bit into the poisonous apple. In this clause, we do have a subject, Snow White, and a predicate, bit into the poisonous apple, but the word before causes the meaning of the sentence to be unclear. What happened before Snow White bit into the apple? The clause cannot stand alone, and an independent clause must be added to make it a sentence. A complex sentence allows us as writers to give more information about a subject. For example, it might allow us to explain what happened before Snow White bit into the poisonous apple. A complex sentence usually has one dependent clause and one independent clause. A complex sentence might look like this: before Snow White bit into the poisonous apple, her little animal friends tried to knock the apple to the ground. The dependent clause now makes sense because we know what happened before Snow White bit into the apple. And the clause, her little animal friends tried to knock the apple to the ground, is an independent clause because it has both a subject, a predicate, and it expresses a complete thought. Without the first part of the sentence, we still have a clear idea of what happened. We know the first part of the sentence is dependent because even though it has a subject and a predicate, the word before leaves us wanting for more information. And we know the second half of the sentence is an independent clause because it has a subject and a predicate, but it can still stand on its own without that first part of the sentence. It expresses a complete thought. Now you might be wondering, if an independent clause already expresses a complete thought, can you combine two independent clauses and still have it make sense? The answer is yes. When you combine two independent clauses, it is called a compound sentence. The two independent clauses in a compound sentence are typically combined with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. There are 7 coordinating conjunctions, and an easy way to remember them is the acronym FANBOYS. The 7 coordinating conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Let's look at an example of a compound sentence. The evil witch tried to make Snow White eat the poisonous apple, so her little animal friends tried to knock the apple to the ground. In this example, we are using the coordinating conjunction so to combine these two independent clauses to create a compound sentence. We can tell these are two separate independent clauses because they both have a subject and a predicate, and they separately express two complete thoughts. We could remove one of the clauses from the compound sentence, and the other clause would still make sense. Let's test this. The evil witch tried to make Snow White eat the poisonous apple. Her little animal friends tried to knock the apple to the ground. Without the coordinating conjunction so and the comma, each independent clause functions as a simple sentence all on its own, expressing a complete thought. Now, If you wanted to give even more information to your readers in one sentence, you can combine a complex sentence with a compound sentence. This is called a compound complex sentence. A compound complex sentence is made up of one dependent clause and two independent clauses that are joined by a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Here's an example. While Snow White bit into the poisonous apple, her little animal friends fearfully watched from outside, and the evil witch clasped her hands in excitement. The dependent clause is, while Snow White bit into the poisonous apple. We know it is dependent because it does not express a complete thought. It leaves us wondering about what happened while Snow White was biting the apple. The first independent clause is, her little animal friends fearfully watched from outside. And the second independent clause is, the evil witch clasped her hands in excitement. We know they are independent because they both have a subject and a predicate, and they express two separate complete thoughts. Lastly, the coordinating conjunction combining the two independent clauses is the word and. Altogether, the three clauses present the reader with a vivid mental image of what happened to Snow White. Here's a recap of everything we've learned so far. A sentence is made up of clauses, which consist of at least one subject and one predicate. There are two types of clauses, independent and dependent. Both clauses must have a subject and a predicate, but the independent clause expresses a complete thought, while a dependent clause does not. There are 4 different types of sentences you can make by combining independent and dependent clauses. The most basic sentence is made up of one independent clause and is called a simple sentence. A complex sentence is made up of at least one dependent and one independent clause. A compound sentence is when 2 independent clauses are joined to create one sentence using a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Lastly, a compound complex sentence is made of one dependent clause and 2 independent clauses that are joined by a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Now you have all the information you need to start writing. Thanks for watching!